Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Congratulations on the anniversary of 13th of Rajab, the birth of the commander of the faithfuls, our leader, our Imam, the successor to the Prophet, the disciple of the Prophet, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. And one of his great work and achievements, the supplications that he produced. Among them is Dua Kumail that we are reciting tonight. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. دعاء كميل. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته وكم من عثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي، وقصرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي، وحبسني عن نفعي بعد أملي، وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها، ومطالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي، وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك، أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي، أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي، ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك، وخالفت بعض أوامرك، فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا، مستغفرا منيبا، مقرا مذعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني، ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري، وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وفكني من شدي وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته، أو تبعد من أدنيته، أو تشرد من آويته، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة، وبشكرك مادحة، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب. وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثه، يسير بقاؤه، قصير مدته، فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي، فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين؟ يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أضج وأبكي؟ لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين؟ يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته، وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ أم كيف يتغلغل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك، ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك، وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما. لكنك تقدست أسماؤك، أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته، وكل ذنب أذنبته، وكل قبيح أسررته، وكل جهل عملته، كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته أو إحسان فضلته أو بر نشرته أو رزق بسطته أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة، وبخدمتك موصولة، وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي، يا من عليه معولي، يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قو على خدمتك جوارحي، واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في المبادرين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا رب نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا رب مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني مناي، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء. يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام على رسول الله أمين الله على وحيه وعزائم أمره، الخاتم لما سبق والفاتح لما استقبل والمهيمن على ذلك كله ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام على صاحب السكينة، السلام على المدفون في المدينة، السلام على المنصور المؤيد، السلام على أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. The birthday of Imam Ali alayhi salam. السلام على أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام على الذين من والاهم فقد والى الله ومن عاداهم فقد عاد الله ومن عرفهم فقد عرف الله ومن جهلهم فقد جهل الله ومن اعتصم بهم فقد اعتصم بالله ومن تخلى منهم فقد تخلى من الله عز وجل. Many Muslims and non-Muslims ask about what is Shi'ism and who are the Shia. And since we are celebrating the birth anniversary of the leader of Shia Islam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, the disciple of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, let's address Shi'ism and Shia. The very first person who uttered the term Shia was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in regards to Imam Ali, referring to the disciples, to the supporters, to the followers of Imam Ali alayhi salam. In several narrations, not one or two, several narrations, the Prophet himself used the term Shi'ism and Shia, the Shia of Ali, the followers of Ali. Let me quote a couple of books from the Sunni sources. One of them is the important book of Lisanul Mizan. The author is Al-Hafiz Ibn Hajar Al-Asqalani, an important transmitter of hadith and historian at the same time. Died in 852 Hijri. In his book, he narrates the hadith of the Prophet, referring to himself as the tree. Shajaratun ana asluha. I am the roots of this tree. Wa Fatimatun far'uha. The branch of this tree is Fatima. Wa Aliyun luqahuha. The pollen of this tree is Ali. Wal Hasan wal Husayn thimaruha. Hassan and Hussein are the fruits of this tree. وَشِيعَتُنَا أَوْرَاقُهَا. Our followers, our Shia, Shi'atuna, are the leaves of this tree. فَمَنْ تَعَلَّقَ بِغُصْنٍ مِّنْ أَغْصَانِهَا سَاقَهُ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. Whoever cling and holds tight to a branch of this tree, that branch is going to lead him and guide him into paradise. This is in Lisanul Mizan Libni Hajar Al-Asqalani. Another hadith from another Sunni source. This time is Al-Hafiz Ibn Asakir, the Syrian from Damascus, who wrote a book, Hafiz Ahl al-Sham, Muhaddith Ahl al-Sham. He's been nicknamed the transmitter of the Levant, of Syria, the greater Syria. This man is very important. He's Hafiz, narrator of Hadith, transmitter of Hadith, and historian at the same time. And he wrote a wonderful book called Tarikh Dimashq. Maybe it has 80 volumes. An encyclopedia, this book, Tarikh Dimashq. Similar to Tarikh Baghdad. Tarikh Baghdad was written by Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi earlier, maybe 200-300 years before him. Then Ibn Asakir came and wrote Tarikh Dimashq, and it was completed by his son. He just finished the book before his death. He died in 571, Ibn Asakir. Sorry, Khatib al-Baghdadi was not too far from him. He was at the same era and same time. In his book, Ibn Asakir narrates that the Prophet was sitting in the house of his wife Salama. Then Ali and Fatima arrive. So when he sees them, he says, Ya Ali, anta wa shi'atuka fil jannah. O Ali, you and your followers, your Shia, your disciples, your supporters are in paradise. These are just only a couple of narrations. Before the Prophet, the Holy Quran, our book, in Surah Al-Saffat. Saffat is chapter 37, 80, verse 83. Surah Al-Saffat 37:83. God uses the term Shia. وَإِنَّ مِن شِيعَتِهِ لَإِبْرَاهِيمَ. When he speaks about Noah, he says, verily, among his disciples and followers, those who follow the tradition of Noah, is Abraham. وَإِنَّ مِن شِيعَتِهِ لَإِبْرَاهِيمَ إِذْ جَاءَ رَبَّهُ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Meaning that Abraham was following the path of Noah. He's one of the Shi'as of Noah. And we know Abraham is the patriarch. Abraham is the father of Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. The great-grandfather, of course. So Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they hail down from Abraham, the patriarch, the Abrahamic tradition. And Ibrahim is one of the Shi'as of Noah, meaning he followed his path, his way, his direction. So Shia to Ali means those who followed Imam Ali after the Prophet. And Imam Ali himself followed the Prophet, and Prophet followed God. So it all leads to God. And the Shias, my friend, are the one who stayed true to the legacy of the Prophet, represented in two things, two items. One of them, Kitabullah. إِنِّي تَارِكٌ أَوْ مُخَلِّفٌ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ. I'm leaving behind. This is the legacy of the Prophet. The Prophet left two important things behind him, which ensured the continuity of Islam, the vitality of Islam, the strength of Islam. One is Kitabullah. This is the book of God, the Holy Quran. The second, وَعِتْرَتِي, my family. So Shia Muslims are those who follow the Prophet and the Sunnah of the Prophet as it is conveyed by his family, by the family of the Prophet, the nearest people to the Prophet, the most trusted people with the Prophet, the infallibles of his family. Where this book says about them, they are purified. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. So those are the Shias. This is their direction. If you want to know who are Shias and what is Shi'ism, Shias are the one who follow the Quran, the only Quran we have, the book of God, the holy book, and the Sunnah of the Prophet, the tradition of the Prophet, through his family, Ahlul Bayt. And these three are inseparable. The Quran on the one hand, and the Prophet and his family. These two are inseparable. The Prophet says they would not depart from each other until حَتَّى يَرِدَ عَلَيَّ الْحَوْض, until both are going to arrive unto me on the pond of Kawthar in the day of judgment. Now, the second question, my friends, is every individual, every person who is born in a Shia family, begotten by a Shia father or a Shia mother, or one of them, either the father or the mother or both, would be automatically considered a genuine Shia, a true Shia, an authentic Shia? The answer is no. Nay. Not every person who is born into a Shia family is automatically considered a real, genuine, authentic Shia. Because Shi'ism is not necessarily by birth. It is not acquired by birth. It is acquired by exploration, discovery, conviction, understanding, appreciation. Shi'ism is embraced, not given as a birth certificate. Many communities, families, individuals, societies, countries were born into Shia Islam, but their understanding of Shia Islam, or their respect for Shia Islam, or their appreciation of Shia Islam is sub-zero. Sub-zero. Their Shi'ism is worth nothing. On the other hand, many families, many individuals, many communities who were born into other religions and other schools of thought chose with full freedom and full understanding to embrace Shia Islam, to embrace the Prophet and his family and their tradition and their path and their school of thought. And those are السابقون السابقون, the forerunners, the pathfinders, the explorers, the leaders, because they chose. It was a matter of choice. This life, this entire life, my friends, is about choice. You have a choice, freedom of choice. The first thing God has given us, brain and a freedom of choice. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْن وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْن وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْن. وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْن. We have given him the freedom of choice. He wants to go this direction or that direction, it's up to you. So many people embrace Shia Islam out of choice, out of a freedom, out of understanding, out of a pride, out of conviction, out of research, out of exploration and discovery for many years and sometimes many decades. It took them decades to compare and contrast, to study, to read, to ask. It wasn't just a whim or a desire, a short-lived whim. Okay, let me change my school of thought from being such into being such. It's not about that. It was for some of them was a very painful journey, my friends. This is why I have much respect and appreciation and love for those who embrace Shia Islam. Whether they were non-Muslims before or they were Muslims, but they were heading into other directions. I have much respect Because they accepted Islam out of discovery. They saw the truth. They accepted Shia Islam out of understanding. They saw the truth. They compared it with others, especially those who are now pioneers in Shia Islam and leaders. And many of them became scholars. However, we are all students. Even the scholars are students, searching for the truth every single day. And that search does not end, does not stop, does not cease. I have more respect for those. They are the true Shi'as of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and the family of the Prophet, and the household of the Prophet, and the Prophet himself. They are true believers because they sacrificed. It wasn't easy for them. On the other hand, I'm sorry for so many people who call themselves Shia. But either they are not proud of their Shi'ism, or they are ignorant about their Shi'ism, or they don't appreciate their Shi'ism, or they take it for granted, or sometimes they renounce it. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Shia Islam is about quality. This is why, my friends, in many countries, including this country, America, many intellectuals, university professors, silently, discreetly embrace the path of Ahlul Bayt. Their families do not know. Their colleagues and friends do not know. Because some environments are hostile to Shia Islam. There is Shia phobia everywhere. Some people might not understand them. And some of them declare it openly. But sometimes they had to pay the cost. There is a cost for it. In fact, Imam Ali, 1400 years ago, my friends, 1400 years ago, he said to his followers in Kufa that after my death, someone will seize power. It's in Nahj al-Balagha. Nahj al-Balagha. It's a whole sermon. Someone materialistic, someone who has no piety, someone who is immoral, indecent, and he's going to force you to curse me. فَأَمَّا السَّبْ فَسُبُّونِي. If he forces you to curse me, that would be okay. وَأَمَّا الْبَرَاءَ فَلَا تَتَبَرَّؤُ مِنِّي. But do not renounce your loyalty to me. Don't renounce your Shi'ism. Keep it there in your heart. This is 1400 years ago. Their homes were demolished. They were fired from their jobs and their posts and their positions. They were persecuted. They were not given their salaries and wages. Deprived from Baytul Mal, the treasury. They were ostracized. They were demonized. They were marginalized. All this happened to the followers of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And sometimes it happens nowadays in many Muslim countries. It's between you and your Lord. I sometimes say to those who are a bit hesitant, I say to them, you don't even have to tell me. Don't tell me. Follow the truth. Follow the school of Ahlul Bayt. You don't have to share it with anyone. You don't have. This is between you and your Lord. This is a private matter. If the environment is hostile to you, disrespecting you, demeaning you, threatening you, intimidating you, then you don't have to share that with anyone. Don't tell your husband, don't tell your wife, don't tell your father, don't tell your son, don't tell your friends, because they don't have the capacity to accept that. Many of them do not understand the meaning of freedom of religion, freedom of choice. They don't appreciate that. Many of them are completely brainwashed because they listen to the wrong people who tell them that Shi'as are non-Muslims, they have different book, they worship Imam Ali, they don't pray, they don't fast, they do this, they do. Naive. Naive. I'm sorry for those who don't use their mind, their brain. Though now there is no excuse for anyone. They can read books. 30 years ago, there were no books online. There were no lectures online. They had to travel to other areas, to other countries. Nowadays, lectures are at your disposal, in your bedroom. You can read these books. So there is no excuse that I did not know, nobody told me. So my friends, those who accepted Shia Islam with full conviction and love and appreciation, and they give thanks to God every single day for guiding them into the right path, into As-Sirat Al-Mustaqim. Ali ibn Abi Talib is As-Sirat Al-Mustaqim, the right path. Those people deserve respect and appreciation. In Arabic, they read this poetry: لا عذب الله أمي إنها شربت حب الوصي وغذتنيه باللبن وكان لي والد يهوى أبا حسن فصرت من ذي وذا أهوى أبا حسن. It says that, may God have mercy on your mother. Whenever she gave me, she breastfed me, she nursed me, she would make sure that she teaches me, inspires me with the love of Imam Ali and his wilayah. Same thing with my father. So I took it from my parents. I believe it's not a big deal you take it from your parents. It is when your parents are not on the path of Shia Islam and you yourself go and explore and work hard. That is a big deal. That is a big deal. Now, third question, and I conclude. Who is the real Shia? When we come to the moral dimension, see, this is an important book, Usul al-Kafi, the most important source of hadith in the school of Ahlul Bayt, Usul al-Kafi. This is volume number 2. See what our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam, say about the identity of the true Shi'as, the true Shi'as of Ahlul Bayt, the true Shi'as of Imam Ali alayhi salam. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن أبي جعفر, meaning Imam al-Baqir, قال لي يا جابر أيكتفي من ينتحل التشيع أن يقول بحبنا أهل البيت? Is it enough for someone who alleges to be Shia? He alleges to be Shia. He claims to be Shia. Is it enough for him just to love us? By merely loving us, it makes him Shia? No. Because many people love Ahlul Bayt, but they are not Shia. Imam says it's not enough. Love is not enough. فوالله, by God, ما شيعتنا إلا من اتقى الله وأطاعه. Our Shi'as are none but those who have reverence for God. Taqwa, reverence for God. وأطاعه, and obedience to God. وما كانوا يعرفون, they would not recognize but through يا جابر إلا بالتواضع, through, they were recognized through humility, والتخشع, submission, والأمانة, honesty, وكثرة ذكر الله تعالى, an abundant of praise for God. The Shi'as always praise God. Always. This is why we have the Tasbihat al-Zahra. After every prayers, 5 daily prayers, 500 times a day, we sanctify God, we glorify God. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. We say 34 times Allahu Akbar, 33 times Alhamdulillah, and 33 times Subhanallah. After each prayer, Tasbihatul Zahra, a gift from the Prophet to Fatima and Ali alayhim as-salam. وكثرة ذكر الله, والصوم, fasting, والصلاة, the prayers, والبر بالوالدين, goodness to their parents, والتعاهد للجيران من الفقراء وأهل المسكنة, and taking care of those in their neighborhood, in their vicinity, in their community, those who are poor and deprived, وأهل المسكنة, والغارمين, the debtors. They take care of them. You know your friend has a debt, he cannot pay it, repay it. You rush to his or her help. والأيتام, the orphans, taking care of orphans. وصدق الحديث, speaking the truth. Shi'as, they speak the truth. وتلاوة القرآن, the recitation of the Quran, regular recitation of the Quran. وكف الألسن عن الناس إلا من خير, holding back their tongue from people except when they say good about people. So they don't mention people in bad or evil. وَكَانُوا أُمَنَاءَ عَشَائِرِهِمْ, Shi'as are the trustworthy people among their families and their tribes and their communities. The hadith is long until he says, مَنْ كَانَ لِلَّهِ مُطِيعًا فَهُوَ لَنَا وَلِي, whoever is in obedience to God, then he is our follower. وَمَنْ كَانَ لِلَّهِ عَاصِيًا فَهُوَ لَنَا عَدُوٌ, and whoever is in disobedience to God, then he is our enemy. وَمَا تُنَالُ وِلَايَتُنَا, our Shi'ism would not be obtained except through إِلَّا بِالْعَمَلِ وَالْوَرَعِ, إِلَّا بِالْعَمَلِ وَالْوَرَعِ, through work and sacrifice. Amal here means goodness. عمل الصالحات, إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات, the good deeds. والورع, the second one is piety and righteousness. This is the identity of the Shi'as. Those are the true Shi'as. We have to pray, we have to wish, we have to dream to be part of this group. So it's not by birth, it's not by nationality, it's not this country is Shia and that country is not. It's not even by a country, it's not by a community, it's not by a city, it's not by a village, it's not by a family. It's by your conduct, your character, your personality, your achievement, your work, your soul, your heart. It's a long way. It's a long way to be a good Shia, an exemplary Shia, a role model Shia, a true Shia of Imam Ali alayhi salam. It's a long way. We aspire to be. We have to hope, we have to pray every single day. When you open your eyes in the morning, say, oh God, make me the Shia of the Prophet and his family. Make me the Shia of Imam Ali, Fatimatul Zahra, the Shia of Imam Hassan and Hussein, the Shia of Imam Baqir, Imam al-Baqir al-Sadiq, the Shia of Imam al-Rida, the Shia of Imam al-Mahdi. May Allah hasten his reappearance. My friends, today, good news. Our friend and a brother, Professor Hassan Abbas of Harvard University, today was the launching of his book, which was organized by Harvard University. His a new book about Imam Ali, the Prophet's heir, the life of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Beautiful book. Inshallah, we will get this book and read it and enjoy this book, which is released by Yale University Press. This book is worth it. One day, inshallah, we will invite Dr. Hassan Abbas to come to Southern California to speak about his book. We have to introduce Imam Ali to the Western audience, to academia, to the universities, to the Americans, to the Canadians, to the Europeans. Because some Muslims, not all, some, they don't care about Imam Ali. They heard about him, but they don't care. They are not fortunate. They are not fortunate. So now, let's introduce Imam Ali to those who care, to those who have intelligence, to those who are open-minded. Maybe one of those who is open-minded is better than thousands of those who are narrow-minded. Wallahu waliyyu tawfiq. Hidayah and guidance is from Allah. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. O Muhammad, you are not the one who is guiding. It is God who guides whomsoever He likes. And of course, this means that if you are willing to listen, but if you close your ears and eyes, as some Muslims do in some countries, then God is not going to offer you this opportunity. May Allah protect you and bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.